Hello, and welcome to Liberate Your Life podcast, a place where we come together and explore Ayurvedic wisdom, holistic healing, and spirituality, empowering individuals to explore their true nature and transform their life. I'm your host, Melinda Reese, Ayurvedic practitioner, Panchakarma specialist, and founder of Tahoe Ayurveda. And I am here to help you transform your life. Thank you for joining me here for episode 19 on Liberate Your Life podcast, Choosing Love, Not Fear. In this episode, I explore what the movement of fear feels like in your system, how to unravel those barriers to love, and that choosing love is the ultimate because you are love. I want to begin with having you close your eyes and start to focus on your breath, really feeling the inhalation, the pause, the exhalation, and the pause. And we're going to just do a couple rounds of this, so just continuing to focus on your breath, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. What a soothing movement in the body. When we close our eyes, we just connect to our breath, and it's really quieting, it's soothing, it's loving. And this is always available. And when we move through life, we are going to have a spectrum of emotions and challenges that we are confronted with. And these different ways that they move through our system, specifically fear and love. And so fear ends up with this friction static state in the system where we don't trust, we don't move forward, we feel stuck, we're not willing to step out into the unknown, and we're afraid of something. And most often that fear gets implanted in our system very early on in life, and there's this whole infrastructure that gets built up around that fear, and that fear has basically convinced us that we need this way of movement in order to stay safe, in order to protect ourselves, in order to thrive, in order to feel confident. So the fear has created this whole identity in your system, and it continues to move and operate as if you are still reliving what happened in the past, where the roots of those were planted, of that fear in your system. And so now, later on in life, when we are making decisions or we are wanting to change a job, a relationship, a home, we want to make a decision to do something, we want to communicate something, we're not feeling met, we want to be heard, we want to use our voice, and we're so afraid that we shrink into this smaller self and we kind of collapse into that fear. And that fear tells us so many different things to really help support that idea and that understanding in our system. And there's something that happens as well where we continue to spin out. We're able to walk so far towards this so-called barrier, and then at some point the system spins back and you run for safety again. And then something else comes up in life and you open up for this possibility and you walk towards it and walk towards it, and then you hit that wall and that fear and that breaker system, and then you spin back and you run back to safety, into that comfort. And so what's happening there is each time that barrier might be further out, but there's something that's so deep in the infrastructure that you're plugged into, that fear story and how loud that story has become, that there's this inability to move through those places that are so uncomfortable and become so loud and so afraid. And it's this unknown territory where on the other side of that is just this incredible freedom and joy and access to everything that you are. So again, at a young age, we make these contracts that then have these stories around shame and guilt and fear, and they've become part of our infrastructure. They've held us, they've convinced us that they're protecting us and that we need it and that we actually can't. And another theme in this is that we are more comfortable with staying small and in the shadow, in the dark, than we are being larger than life and radiant and full of light and love and divinity and grace, and just stepping into that intense beauty, that beauty that is so bright like the sun. And it is easier to stay in what we think would be uncomfortable in the fear or the small self or the contracted spaces. But at this point, it's so patterned in the system, the attachment to the pain body or the attachment to the struggle or the fight and the suffering and the chaos is so comfortable and normal now that it is so easy to just continue to collapse and to step back into that way of moving. And absolutely no moment is the same. So we are always on a spiral up, and there is an organic timing to the healing and the maturation of those patternings and that struggle and that fear and how it got implanted in your system. But there's also this commitment to this self-care and self-love practice, to develop self-awareness, to have space from those thoughts and that idea of self that got built a long time ago, so you can really arrive in this moment and this really true understanding of who you are and what you're capable of, and to see what is story and what is pain body and what needs to be healed, and tracking that down to the roots, and what is true movement in your incredible being of really choosing love, that which you are, that which you have always been. Nobody can take that away from you. You were born of love, you are love, and you will always return to love. And so how can we stay the course through unknown terrain, through those very uncomfortable places in our system where we just want to run for safety and cover in something that we know, even if we're not fulfilled, even if it's riddled with all kinds of stories and shame and guilt around who we've been, who we've become? How can we stay the course and move through those barriers and really expand into this incredible unknown place where freedom and love and really reclaiming your wholeness is truly available? There are amazing practices to really support this self-awareness and this self-love, and really healing old pain and old fear, and really reclaiming your truth, reclaiming your wholeness, and really tapping into that deep love, the essence, your true nature, that which you are, and really stepping into this higher self, into this higher frequency of capacity, capabilities, and deep love, and let that really wash over you, bask in it, and have that really transform all of your relationships with yourself, with others, and with something bigger than you, something that's really deeply guiding this entirety of life. And so these self-awareness practices through meditation really helps to give you space so that you can really watch the thoughts, witness and observe the thoughts that go on, and recognize them as just thoughts and not truth. There's EMDR practices, there's therapy, there's walking meditation, there's somatic body work, these practices that really help to access where that fear has just landed and become threaded throughout our system, and all the stories that we have wrapped around it. And at what point did we learn that not telling the truth was more comfortable, or that we can't do this because we're going to hurt someone's feelings, or that the guilt and the shame around really stepping into our amazing capacity, into our glory, into our grace, into love. And so there's this fear. Fear is where we can control things where others control us, where religion and cultures and society can have control. If you put the fear in someone, there's a contraction there, and they collapse into that contraction, and they don't have access to their full intelligence, to their full love and their beauty, and that inner autonomy and interdependence, and really understanding who you are and trusting that love to set you free. And so really committing to deep healing and to self-awareness practices, to mindful practices, to meditation practices, to breath work to really calm the nervous system so you can really calm the anxiety and really quiet that fear mind and continue to move into these open, wide spaces that are full of love and light, and that holds you in all of your being. So choosing love, not fear, we have to reprogram and repattern our way of understanding ourselves and our movement in the world. And we have been taught so much about survival and safety and really moving into a place where we feel safe and secure. And life is temporary. It is not safe. It is unknown. We are not in control. And can we really trust and let go of the grip and open up and really blossom into this incredible love and choose love? Again, quiet the mind, trust yourself, listen inside, create inner peace, and really connect into love. You are love. Thank you for joining me on Liberate Your Life podcast. You can connect with me on Instagram at melindareese.co or check out my website, melindareese.com, and sign up for your free discovery call and explore your true nature and how choosing love can transform your life.